Greetings, everybody. Let me start out by saying that when you're a woman or a girl from Jamaica and you tell your truth, you can expect people to say that you're lying. All over social media, splashed all across the screens, you see people talking about their experiences, and you see people who are artists or other females who are known or public figures are coming out to talk about their experience, with that horrible kind of spell that is cast over the island of Jamaica. Now, this is not exclusive to Jamaica because we see it's a world thing. I mean, wherever women are in the world, they're vulnerable. And oftentimes they are violated and they're expected to remain quiet. But in Jamaica, when I hear people talking, they actually sound surprised, as if they don't know that this is just a common thing in Jamaica as it relates to men, sometimes of no much power, still have this one thing in common, whether they're powerful or they're powerless. They often try to use the power or the powerlessness on the women. And I want to say to most people that are out here talking about, ways women are violated, it has nothing really to do with the act itself. Because when someone forces themselves on someone else, it's about dominance, it's about power and control, it's about that person feeling really filthy and inferior inside and want to look to find somebody who they can feel better about themselves by forcing themselves on. The woman, the Asian lady, came out and shared her story, and slowly you see people in Jamaica trickling out to talk about their stories too, because people are afraid to talk about these things. They're taboo. And people are more accepting of improper conduct towards other persons as it relates to these physical, inappropriate acts. But if you look close at the home, there's so many opportunities given to people to violate the female. And we're often ashamed or afraid to talk about it. Or we often feel like if we tell or talk about it, um, you know, we're bad people. I think every female in Jamaica, if they have not had an experience, a direct experience, I've had close calls. I've shared some of these on here. Close experiences with being violated. And some that I can think about even as a child. I remember a family friend picked me up on his shoulder to give me what you call piggy bank or hoist me up on the shoulder for a ride. And I remember him doing that and putting his finger under my clothes and touching. And as a little girl, you think it's an accident, you wiggle, but it wasn't an accident. When you get older and you look back on it, oh, okay, that's what happened. Number one. But I'm also going to say this, and I've never about this publicly. And, I'm aware that people are watching that I don't know and probably wouldn't talk to otherwise. But I just want to say that a lot of the girls that get violated in Jamaica, or women for that instant, if they're not groomed by people in the community or in the household, people see this and turn a blind eye to it. It's like nothing. It's just a little S. It's nothing. Mothers are doing it to their girls, trading them for goods and services. It's common. It's a common thing in Jamaica, and so a lot of these girls are suffering, and a lot of them grow up with these things that they keep inside. They're so ashamed and feel like they have done something wrong. But I'm saying it starts in the household. And I've shared stories after stories after stories. Not now that it's popular to talk about it, but long before it was. And I'm going to talk about my own experience about how even your family can subject you to this thing and pretend as if they don't know the danger they're placing you in as a young girl. I remember my aunt and her husband had some falling out, and it was also related to her husband making approach or statements to another young girl in the household. And when that young girl talked or told what was said to her that was inappropriate, it caused a conflict between the guardians. And so my, guardian mother was upset with her husband and put him to sleep in my bedroom. At one point, I'm sleeping on the same bed with her husband. And when I was a little girl, I used to pee my bed. So guess what happened? At one point, and I think somebody spoke to her, she got a mattress made from crocus bag filled with grass and put it on the side at night. They would put it under the bed in the daytime, and then I would pull it out, and I was sleeping on that mattress on the floor in the same room with her husband while she put him, giving me suspension. And I thought about that for years, and I'm thinking, you are a woman. I don't have a mother. You are the mother I have. Why did you not make me sleep on your bed with you when you threw your husband out? Or why did you not make me sleep beside you on the floor? Listen to me, people. Some things happened over the years, and I felt hurt, and I felt like, what happened to me? How is it that my mother didn't look out for me? Or even though I loved her so much and was always there for her. And let's not get into that. I was just grateful because my biological mother was unfit. She was an unfit mother. So, this lady that raised me did a lot of great things for me. But it doesn't change the fact that we are a society that, uphold these standards that allow our young girls or vulnerable girls to be in positions and situations where they can get violated. So this father figure, I don't have any memory of him physically touching me, but I was put in that position where he could have. And it was in his nature to say inappropriate things because he did that when I was a teenager. He used to always make these inappropriate things or statements to me, and I would always joke it off. Yes, I remember he would always ask me, when are you going to make me taste the cherry? You're going to make them boy taste the cherry before me. I would look at him and pretend like he didn't say that. But the other female in my household, she told on him, and I don't blame her. Because one day he made inappropriate comments to her, and she told, and that's why he got thrown out of his own bed for a brief time. But I remember being in the same room with him for the longest while. Well, brief to her, but a long time for me. And I'm not going to lie on him because I love him to this day. But he used to say things to me when I was a teen. I remember introducing him to when I finally got married and introduced him to my husband. I remember he said, look at that. Look at this big, tall man. Taste it before me. It's disturbing. And sometimes when I tell my daughter about it, and sometimes I laugh because what am I supposed to do? I'm like, this is the culture. Okay? So all the shock and the awe that we're hearing, a lot of it is pretentious because we know that our young girls are not safe. They can't walk in the road in peace. They can't be with their uncle. They can't be with their cousin. Oh my goodness. The first time anyone ever kissed me was a cousin. It was my birthday, my 16th birthday. And myself and my sister-in-law went to the movie theater, and that was his present to me, to try to kiss me on the mouth and to put, what doesn't belong where. I had to say, you're nasty. And he said that the only person that was safe from him was his mother. So he says, if you're a cousin, please, you're not off limits. So when we talk about inappropriate behavior, it is sanctioned. It is written in, I don't know if it has to do with the history, that ancestral memory of our women being violated, but men were violated too, publicly. You see? And now people, I guess, justify it and continue to give light to it. Females always wanting the woman to prove if she's telling the truth or not, even more than the men. The women often hear about these things and justify it, or just tell her to be quiet, or get mad at you because you're raising something that is also very hurtful to them. So I have been blessed in a way where I have escaped that violence. But I've had experiences, very, very close calls. And to this day, I say to myself, why did my guardian subject me to that? Why did you let me stay in the same bed as a teen, or on the floor beside your partner? Someone spoke to her about it. I can't remember who, but I heard a woman tell her, don't do that. Let him come back to his room. It's not appropriate. And that's how, he went back to her bed. So this is not to embarrass or to disgrace this woman, because trust me, she was a good mother. She took me. But sometimes when I think of everything else, I'm like, was there really true love and tenderness towards me? And there wasn't. There was not. As to her intention, I can't say she intended him to do anything bad to me. But how can you get that report that your husband says inappropriate things to your niece, and then you put him to stay in a room with the next one who's even younger? Think about it, people. Yes. So it is so common. And I'm not going to feel bad about sharing the story. Who want to see it and get vexed, that's their problem. But we are all culpable. We're all responsible for some of the things that are happening to our young girls and our women in society, from the very top to the very bottom. We're all responsible.